Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Let's discuss about fair use doctrine. Fair use doctrine is nothing but for example, imagine there are some kind of situations where your copyrights can be used for the fair use. For example, any person not possessing a valid license, imagine he doesn't have a license to produce that product or distribute that product from the owner of the copyright, is not entitled to exploit the said work. But there are some special criteria or situations under the section 52 of Copyright Act 1957. It is mentioned that it provides for a certain exception for this copyright, fair use doctrine. That means, okay, fine, this can be used because there is no other options, like that kind of stuff. Or it can be for educational purpose. Okay, like for example, when you go for your paper publications, all these, you can use the product, but not for the commercialization purpose. Maybe for your educational purpose you can use without the license. So as per the rule of law, copyrighted materials cannot be used by anybody without the proper consent of the legal owner or of the copyright, but under special considerations there will be some exceptions. So let's see how. However, limited use of the copyrighted materials for teaching and research purposes is legally permitted under the fair use doctrine, and which comprises of 4 steps. So we are having imagine if I am explaining, so I'm taking all these information, whatever I'm explaining to you, it is not completely created by me. I might have done some changes. I cannot do that also because university will not allow me to tell what I have interest in, right? Whatever the examples I have given are not there in your syllabus so far. Every topic I will be giving some examples, right? Won't be there in your syllabus, and I will be giving some analogies that is also won't be there. Those are all to try to make you understand, right? But there is a syllabus, there is a concept, there is, based on that there is a syllabus, and there are textbooks which are mentioned under that syllabus, and I will be explaining only that to you. Why? The reason is simple, because you should be getting marks, right? So or else you will not be getting. That is why the particular textbook is mentioned for a university. So I will be referring that, and I have to read, I have to take the images from it, I have to take explanation for this. You might have seen a number of images in this YouTube channel, different subjects. But those images, whether I have taken copyright, no, because I am using it for education purpose. Okay, if at all I am using those materials for my any commercial applications, then it is mandatory to take copyright. So all these things, whatever I have used so far for education and research purpose, it is fair use of doctrine. So the some of the examples are there. The character of a use. Okay, what could be the character? The use of the work is purely educational or non-profit or personal. So it should be educational, non-profit, and personal. Personal in the sense for personal photography or something like that I am using, but I am not making money out of it and all. Next, nature of the work. What could be should be the nature of the work? Okay, so the work should be factual nature and non-imaginative. It should not be that non-imaginative. Okay, so something, there has to be some differences should be there, and it should be in factual nature. Next, amount of the portions to be used. You cannot use complete copyright in some cases. You can start the portions and also. Okay, but if you are going for the small portions of the copyright, then you don't need any the copyright or permissions from the copyright. Okay, so permission is not needed if only a small portion of the copyright protected material is to be used. However, the parameter is that debatable now, because it depends on how much that small portion, how much importance it brings out of his copyright. For example, the entire copyrighted material, if the important part only is a small part and you have taken it, then it makes debatable concept, and depending on the severity it can be decided. Now, the impact of use on the value of the copyrighted material. So based on the impact, for example, if a small portion of the work is copied and it is not affected, imagine it doesn't affect the author's economic or moral rights, then it will be excused from the infringement. If at all the small portion of the work is being copied and that is having more significance as the point number 3, then if the author is getting the damaged for his business or moral rights, then definitely it should be, what you call, it will come under copyright infringement. Okay, that means he should take a license before using. Okay, so that and detailed informations of the examples of the fair use doctrine can be accessed to the website. You can just click on this thing and you can identify. So if the copyrighted work is used for the personal use, that is called as, some few examples I'll give here. For personal use, studies or researches. So I conduct research, I use some some information, and then I might not take some the copyright. That doesn't come under the very offensive criminal act, but it is recommended to take a license for paper publications and all. Okay, whereas in studies, like you do seminar presentation, right, you will be taking some few papers and data from there. You have to give the reference, that's it. You don't have to take copyright from them. So reporting of current events in the media, such as newspapers, magazines or radios or televisions, you don't have to take copyrights. Okay, so you will get a lot of, nowadays the Indian media is like, it has become one big dump where not a single news will be trustworthy. Okay, so even though if it is a fact, then also it doesn't require any copyright for media. Next, reproduction of the work by the teachers or the scientific researchers. Okay, reproduction is nothing but, there is an image in one paper, I have to include that image in my paper. Without including that, my readers will not understand my paper. If that is the case, it's a requirement. Now I can go for the asking the license or permission to use that, or else I can also adapt it. For example, reproduce that image. How to reproduce that image? That same image I should not copy paste. I should make my own self with some animation, some tools and all. Okay, with a similar kind of explanation. That is called as reproduction of the work by the teachers or scientists. And for scientific researchers and all, it's usually it will be more helpful. Okay, so these kind of things actually can avoid the copyright, and without copyright they can use. So these are some of the cases where fair use doctrine is allowed. Next, performance is free of charge by the government officials in the performance of the duties. Okay, whatever the performance is there, that is free of charge. For example, during the duty, example, reproduction of any work of the judicial proceedings or a report of a judicial proceeding, you can use that. You can always reproduce. You don't need any copyright to reproduce these judicial proceedings. Next, making 3 or less than 3 copies of a book. Imagine you doesn't own the copyright, you doesn't own the permission to print the books and distribute the books, but you can go for 3 or less than 3. Okay, they are called as for educational purpose, including a pamphlet, sheet of music, chart or pen, everything comes here, not only just a book. So you cannot go for the 3 or more, more than 3 copies. Next, bona fide religious ceremony and including the marriage function. These all comes under the, it doesn't require any permission or copyright issues and knowledge won't be there for the bona fide religious ceremony and including marriage functions. That's it, the copyrights and internet, that we'll discuss in the next class.